Hello and good afternoon. This morning's session is one in a series of learning sessions developed and designed by Ingenuity's Learning and Development Provider Program residents. The program is called Constellation because the residents have come together over the last several months to ideate, knowledge share, and workshop their respective learning sessions so that they can elevate key areas of their expertise, research, and experience as arts partners and arts educators and share it back with you all, in essence, creating a partner-to-partner learning network. So thank you to all of the residents for this incredible collaboration and thoughtful work, which will continue to be presented throughout the spring. Today's session, developed by Cleo Goldberg, will share strategies for incorporating identity beyond the gender binary in arts classrooms. I am Ariel Frost. I'm the manager of partnerships and learning here at Ingenuity. And I also am joined here by my wonderful colleague, Cleo Goldberg, who's the music teacher at Alexander Graham Bell School, and the director of partnerships and learning, who is behind the scenes today, Courtney Cintron. We'd like to acknowledge that this virtual classroom is taking place on the stolen land of the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Potawatomi, and Odawa nations. Because of the Great Lakes, the land naturally became a site of travel, healing, trade, and gathering for more than a dozen other native tribes, and is still home to over 100,000 tribal members in the state of Illinois that still practice their traditions and care for the land. As we begin this program, let's honor these ancestral grounds and support the resilience and strength that all Indigenous people have shown worldwide, and begin to rethink our own relationship with the land and its original peoples. A few important notes. If you haven't already, we invite you to update your name with your pronouns and your organization's name. You can do that by hovering over your image icon and selecting the three dots. Please note that for accessibility purposes, today's session will be recorded. Additionally, handouts and slides of this session will be available following today's session, and closed captioning is also available. You can enable captions by adjusting the subtitle settings in the More section at the bottom of your screen. So before we get started, I'm just going to briefly outline some session norms for today's institute. We've divided the session norms into a few categories. Under equity of voice and learning, we have take space, make space. So as a participant, please be mindful of any privileged identities you may hold and help to create an environment for everyone to contribute. And speak from personal experience. Let's own our statements and views and not presume to be able to speak for others. And under how we show up for ourselves and each other, we have openness to learning. So an understanding that we're all learners in this space. Flexibility and patience. Things may not always go 100% according to plan, and sometimes technology is at play. We want to keep away all of the technology gremlins today, but we thank you for your grace and flexibility. And then use the chat box mindfully. We ask that you try to make your questions and comments as relevant to what we're talking about as possible. And confidentiality. So take away lessons, but not personal content. We'll sometimes knowledge share and co-share ideas and resources in these sessions, but if anyone shares anything personal, we ask that you don't bring it out of the space. Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to hand it off to Cleo to guide us through today's session.
Thank you, Ariel. Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited that you're here. I've given some version of this session a couple times, and I feel like each time I'm only more excited for it. So yes, it's a topic that's very important to me for a couple of reasons. On one hand, as a non-binary music educator, part of me thinks, oh, what could have been different? What could have been a part of the school environment that would have made it a little easier for young Cleo to sort of discover their gender identity? And also, as a working educator, someone who is putting these things into practice, oh my gosh, how meaningful it is for kids discovering their identity, to feel seen, which we'll talk a little bit more in a second, to feel really validated in their identity, in their space, the art space. So First of all, I would like to get a sense of the various disciplines we have here. So in a little bit, I'll call each one, and I want you to, using the reactions button on the bottom, if you could just find your corresponding emoji and just click it when I say it'll, I'm just very interested to see who is here. So starting with our music folks, where are you? Let's click those wave buttons. If you're a musician or a music teacher, let's click those wave buttons. Oh, Jordan is a musician. Welcome, Jordan. And David. Ooh, and I saw one more from Joanne. Hey, Joanne. Great. What about visual arts and creative tech? I also threw in there. Thumbs up for visual arts. Or also we have a hand up from Leslie. Awesome. Hey, Leslie. Ooh, lots of visual arts folks. Awesome. Good, good. Yeah, lots. Nina, Lisa. Very good. Welcome. Okay, how about theater, dance, and circus arts? I added because I know we have some folks from circus team who are going to show up. Hearts for theater, dance, and circus. Awesome. Welcome, Jillian and Edmund and Kristen. Very good. Awesome. And then finally, creative writing can be the little celebrate emoji, the party streamer emoji. Do we have any creative writing people? Jamie, hey, Jamie, and Dinah, and Maya, and Edmund, and Jillian. Very good. And I tried to be as all-encompassing as possible with these emojis and categories. If you feel like your discipline was not included, please let us know what you are working in, what area you are working or teaching in chat. So awesome to have all of you. So we can go to the next slide. One little quick activity just to kind of get us going here. So like I said before, I mentioned this idea of feeling seen. And feeling seen, I describe it as a part of your identity is not only acknowledged, but is validated and celebrated. So what I would like some or all of us to do in chat is share. My name is your name. I am, share some part of your identity, and then say, I feel seen when blank. So think of a moment where you feel that a part of yourself is really not only acknowledged, but that you feel really validated and celebrated for some part of yourself. I included my example. My name is Cleo. I am non-binary. I feel seen when my students say, I like your dress, or I like your earrings. So take a second to think about it. What is a part of yourself that you feel when people really notice and really shout out for, that it just feels good and you feel seen? So think on it. When you're ready, pop something in chat. Oh, I love that. And Ariel is in fact all those things, dapper and handsome. Oh, absolutely, Joanne. Yeah, when a student feels safe enough to come to you. Cool. These are great already. I'll just wait for a few more to appear. Father of two. When students tell me I'm being funny, I also strive to be the funny teacher. So. When people laugh at your jokes, see, good. We have some funny folks in the mix today. That's good. I'll wait for maybe one or two more, and then we can. An advocate for kindness. That's awesome and totally a part of our personality that maybe some people just wouldn't think, but it is. When people look at me when they say hello, absolutely. I feel seen when I can talk about cultural music and food with others. Absolutely. Ask what I'm making right now. Good. These are awesome. Great. So, yeah, I think, yeah, maybe a few folks are still typing. Keep them coming. These are so awesome. We can go ahead and move to the next slide. So, our objectives for the day. I'll start off by talking about some of the major definitions when it comes to gender. I realized you had a document sent to you, including some of these definitions. That was just sort of to lay the groundwork. And so we had a bit of knowledge in advance, but I'll dive deeper into some of those. We'll take a look at some areas of education that have historically reinforced the binary, and also look at ways to promote inclusion both in education as a whole, but also we'll look at a little bit in the specific content areas that we have here. And we will end by doing a little breakout activity where we will take a look at a few case studies where we'll think, what would we do in this scenario? Situations that involve honoring the student's gender identity. Yeah. And yeah, agenda is pretty much in that order. We'll take a quick break before the group discussion. We'll have people share out after the breakout room activity and then take some time for questions at the end. Okay. So, transgender identities have grown in visibility big time in recent years. How I often describe it is some people think that being non-binary is a new idea, being trans is a new idea. Trans and non-binary people have existed for millennia. It is just the language that is new. It's the presence and the visibility of the language and also the people that is new. And with that, students are coming out and are experimenting with their gender at increasingly younger ages. And I have met some educators that feel that they want to be as inclusive as possible, but feel like they may have a shortage of understanding of some of the vocabulary or some of the concepts. And also there's so many areas of education that have this inherent way of reinforcing the binary. We'll explore some of those later, but things like seating in classrooms, boy, girl, or lining up boy, girl, bathrooms is going to be always a topic for debate. And this can cause gender dysphoria for students as a result. Okay. So more on some of these gender definitions. So with an identity, we have cisgender, someone who identifies with the gender that corresponds with their assigned sex at birth. The prefix cis started to appear as a result of some in the trans community to address the privilege of man meaning non-transgender man and woman meaning non-transgender woman. So the distinction began to be made cisgender and transgender. Another thing many people don't realize is non-binary does fall under the trans umbrella. Transgender is really anyone who does not identify with their sex assigned at birth, including non-binary. So, and sex assigned at birth, we often describe as AMAB, assigned male at birth, AFAB, assigned female, or intersex, which is possessing characteristics from multiple sexes. And gender expression is a part of this that I think is sort of the most joyful of all. It's the physical manifestation of it through clothing, hairstyle, voice. I think some of these are things that maybe we included in the feeling scene, but I'm wondering if anyone would drop in chat. What do you think are ways that you express your gender? What do you think are some physical manifestations of your own gender identity? Like, for example, in my feeling scene, I mentioned the dresses or the earrings, but I'm wondering if anyone would drop in chat. What are ways that you express your gender? Physical manifestations of your gender. Comfortable shoes, absolutely. Makeup, absolutely. Pockets for women, that's so funny. Sometimes I will wear women's pants. I mean, I wear women's everything. But the pants, it's like today, I'm like, I would like to put my phone in my pocket. Like is that so much to ask to put a normal size iPhone in my pocket? Clothes, hair, jewelry, body language, absolutely, 100%. These are so great, thank you. Cool. So many things that are so just embedded, right? Things that we're not necessarily even making a conscious effort to do. It's just a part of who we are. Pattern clothes, long hair, mannerisms. Yeah, I'm glad we keep coming back to that. That's great. Cool. Okay. So, gender dysphoria. Negative feelings experienced by individuals whose gender identity does not correspond with their sex assigned at birth. And these feelings are strongest when triggered by factors outside of the person's control. So this could include misgendering, using incorrect pronouns, dead naming, so using a birth name that is no longer used, In school, something like gendered speech, like, okay, girls over there, boys over here. And this can range from mild discomfort to severe distress and often suicidal ideation. Thankfully, gender dysphoria has begun to be recognized as a medical diagnosis and has allowed trans-related care to be covered by insurance. So, I mentioned this in the document that I shared. This is, to me, just such an important concept that I find a lot of people do not realize the distinction of sex versus gender. So sex, physical attributes assigned at birth, and is linked with the presence of hormones, anatomy, DNA, and can be classified as male, female, or other, or intersex. Gender refers to these social constructs, right, or socio-cultural constructs, which influence factors like appearance, interactions, self-perceptions. A lot of the time you will hear sort of anti-trans arguments saying that genitals determine gender. And this invalidates not only trans people, but people who are intersex and have differences in sex development. So I'm thankful that I really do not have to have any of these conversations, people who are transphobic and are making that argument that genitals determine gender. But I think I think this is a really, really important point for if that moment ever happens for any of you, just pointing out that this distinction between sex and gender. As I said, transgender and non-binary people have existed for so long and in so many different cultures. I think so in First Nations and Native American communities, there's the Two-Spirit people, which is an umbrella term for people who fulfill a third gender, ceremonial, and social role. So this term was actually coined in the early 1990s, but like I said, has appeared for a long time. When European colonizers arrived in America, this caused severe backlash. So many indigenous nations hid Two-Spirit out of fear for safety, and many were asked to change their dress to match their sex. In the New York City Public Library, there are historical sketches available that depict Two-Spirit people being attacked by colonizers' dogs, which is pretty horrifying. So this was something historically that was covered up, and I think it's just so beautiful to see how so many people are still embracing it and are holding events to preserve the culture. It's hard to read what this says. So this is a camp where the poster reads, "We feel and express differently because we were blessed with two spirits. We are male and female. We are gay and straight. It's a gift, a sacred station." This was at the Standing Rock Reservation, which lies across the borders of North and South Dakota. And in the front, we have Rebecca Little Thunder, who was actually one of the people to help create the term Two-Spirit. Another culture that has a beautiful representation of non-binary people is in Samoa, the Fa'afafine people. Similarly, third gender. In Samoa, American Samoa, the Samoan diaspora, these are people that are assigned male at birth and embody both masculine and feminine gender traits. People who are assigned female at birth and embody both these traits can often be referred to as fa'atane, fa'atama, or fa'fatama. Some Catholic groups and traditionals are not totally supportive of the Fa'afafine people, but generally they're very well accepted in Samoan culture. And to find satisfaction and find community out of special events, like right in the picture in this slide, we have a Fa'afafine pageant where, oh yes, we have the crown and the sash in the middle. That's awesome. Great. Okay. Taking a look at some of the statistics out there for LGBT youth, specifically trans and non-binary. 26% of LGBTQ youth are non-binary, which I think is significant. I mean, this was a study that was done 2 years ago. And 2% of high school students are transgender, a couple of years old, 2019. But if you think of, I mean, high schoolers throughout the whole country, and not just LGBT, like 2% of high schoolers are transgender. Throughout my research, I've been surprised by how few of these studies are about students younger than high school. So I teach K-8 music, and a lot of these are geared towards high school. For me, the youngest student I have seen come out to me as non-binary is 4th grade. And I would say it's 4th and 5th grade when I noticed that students via this questionnaire that I use that I'll show you in a little bit, express wanting to use multiple pronouns or experiment with different pronouns. So I wish there were more studies, and who knows, maybe even one day I'll be a part of one of these. But I think it's interesting because, like I said, students are coming out at increasingly younger ages. Okay, so the singular they. Many regard English to be missing a pronoun for someone whose gender is unknown or other. Grammarians recommended the generic he for centuries, but ultimately we reached a point where that did not seem so inclusive after all and seemed to be referencing only men. The singular they can actually be traced back all the way to 1375. The medieval romance William and the Werewolf was the first time that it was seen. So with the increased visibility of non-binary identities, the use of singular they and they them has increased significantly in the past several years. In 2019, Merriam-Webster named it the word of the year. And part of that was in the year prior, it had seen a 313% increase in its search. Yeah. A lot of the issue for some people with they them pronouns is the grammar of it. Some people deal with this confusion of, oh, but it sounds like I am referencing multiple people. So what I often say to this is, if it is a circumstance where it could be confused with plural, just change the first part of the sentence to clarify. Like, for example, I wrote here, I may bring a friend today. Their name is Alex. And if there is ever still confusion with after that rearranging of the sentence, explicitly sharing another person's pronoun is really, that's a true ally right there, because it takes the onus off of the trans person themselves to have to share their pronouns or have to explain themselves. And singular they we use all the time without realizing it. We have a really hilarious and awesome video that articulates this well in a second, but singular they we use it and we don't even realize it. And it's also really important to practice. I notice this actually, I notice it with other people, but also with people I interact with, where sometimes if someone makes a mistake on a pronoun, like for example, a coworker would call me he on accident, and instead of starting the sentence over and trying they just sort of short circuit. Like that's how I like to describe it, where it's like they he and they freeze and they either say like, either just point to me or say you or say my name. A lot of people will do that. They'll get nervous and they'll just decide to use the name instead. But in those moments, I usually never actually say it. But what I want to say is we just practice. We practice like we practice anything else. Let's start the sentence over and do it right this time. It's okay. It really is okay. It takes practice like everything else. So guess what? We're going to practice. Next slide. I have a couple. Thank you. Cool. All right. So I want you to either quickly grab a sheet and pencil, or you could do this with a note or a Google Doc or just something. But what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite each of these sentences. We'll do one at a time together, but we're going to replace the name with they, them, their, or theirs. Okay. And once you write your new version with they or them, I want you to say it aloud, because that's really the part we want to practice, right? Not only, good. Yeah, saying it aloud is going to be really what's going to internalize it. So let's start with, Ty is one of the most gifted actors I've worked with. So either via typing or writing down, reword the sentence to include the new pronoun. Ty is one of the most gifted actors I've worked with. Okay. So they are one of the most gifted actors I've worked with. We can say that aloud. They are one of the most gifted actors I've worked with. Let's go to the second one. I went to Max's art opening. I told Max I was really impressed. And I'll pause here. This is something to practice not just for ourselves, but also with our students too. More to the feeling seen. If there are students who feel that their pronouns are not being recognized or used correctly, this could be a way to practice with the students too. So instead, I went to their art opening. I told them I was really impressed. I went to their art opening. I told them I was really impressed. Cool. Okay, let's try the last one. I heard the recording and I knew it couldn't be anyone else's voice but Ren's. I think all of these are actually names of non-binary students I've had. I just, it's just a subconscious thing, but they're all nice names too. Okay, write your new version. I heard the recording and I knew it couldn't be anyone else's voice but Ren's. Okay, I heard the recording and I knew it couldn't be anyone else's voice but theirs. I heard the recording and I knew it couldn't be anyone else's voice but theirs. Cool. Like I said, even if it feels silly, like you're sitting in front of your computer just talking to yourself, it's really just saying it aloud that does help big time. So cool. All right, time for a funny video. So El Duran is one of my favorite TikTok content creators. Oh no, it's not devastating, but I didn't realize I spelled her name wrong on the top one. It's El, not Ella Duran. It's El Duran. Anyways, just has such a funny and succinct and great way of outlining very common experiences of non-binary and trans people. And in this one, they will explain, I'm such a big fan of them, says Joe, such a comforting, yes, something about them is just so comforting, the way they talk, and just very good energy from Mel. Good. They respond to the singular they, anti-singular they argument in just such a cute and funny way here. So let's play.
I will never use they, them pronouns for one person. And why is that? It's bad grammar. Say more. When I meet someone, I'm gonna call them what they are. Come again. When I meet someone, you're going to call them what they are.
Right. The example I usually use is, oh, someone left their bag here. Like maybe they'll just come back for it. Someone left their bag here. Maybe they'll. Yeah. We don't even realize.
I will never use they, them pronouns for one person. And why is that? It's bad grammar.
All right. We can move on. Cool. So it's been so awesome to see how common practice it's become to include pronouns in introductions, and email signature, and display names like we're doing today. And that not only helps how to clarify to address you, but also normalizes and gives trans people more space and comfort to share their pronouns. So typically we do it subject pronoun, object pronoun. So he, him, she, her, or sometimes it includes the possessive, like he, him, his, she, her, hers. It's combinations of different pronouns that I often get questions about. People who are not sure what it means or if one is the preferred. So here I mentioned she, they, and he, they, for example. I would say in general, she, they, or he, they means not only accepts both, but like really we should use both. I have many dear he, theys and she, theys in my life who do experience frustration that a lot of times people just defer to the first one and only use he, only use she. I actually just a couple weeks ago I had an email exchange with a friend of mine who I hired to do makeup for me. I'm a drag queen sometimes, part-time drag queen. So I wrote in the email, I said, oh, he charges blank and their Zell is under the email address that's copied. So within the same sentence, I use he and they just because, I don't know, I didn't think too much of it. I'm like, he, they pronouns, I'm going to use both. He texted me and they said, I think that sums up my gender perfectly. I feel seen. So more on feeling seen. I was glad that they recognized that. And for me, I see it as like kind of a fun challenge for ourselves. Like, can we truly alternate? Like, can we say he and then later in the sentence say they and see how long we can keep that up? It's a challenge. It's a fun challenge, I think. They, he, or they, she, I would say typically that means they is preferred, but the other is still okay. Yeah. Next. Oh, part of the reason. Yes. Okay. I'm going to read Ariel's evolved. I'm reading the word that you just wrote. I'm going to read the comment aloud. Part of the reason I've changed to they, them instead of she, they for this very reason. People tend to just default to she, her. And I believe my gender has evolved. Yeah. Yeah, myself, I think I never did he, they. I did he, she, they for like 2 weeks. And I was like, no, I think they is it, they, them. And part of me has wondered about they, he, just to have this coming to terms with the fact that sometimes people will still he, me. But then I think longer and I think no, like I do not give that people the option. People will make mistakes and I accept that and I forgive that, but I do not give that people that option. I am they and I am them. Okay. Neo pronouns. Oh my gosh. Eternal admiration for this. And I've never seen it put in a more beautiful way than this article that I quoted at the bottom. Neo pronouns are intentionally created to help pronouns feel like home. I say I have admiration for those who choose to use neo pronouns because lots of us who use gender neutral pronouns, specifically they, them, enough people struggle with they, them. So at least part of my thought is like, for myself, like, would I be okay with people still struggling with the neo pronoun? But then on the other hand, I think if they and them is so hard with the grammar, like, let's just create a new word. That's why they're so awesome. It's like, especially in response to that concern, the singular they, it's like, let's just create a new word. So here are some of the most common neopronouns. Zir, zem, the X is also the zsem, z here. I think if I ever sprinkled in any neopronoun, something about z here just feels really right. I might do z here at some point. Or per. I think I learned about that in the past couple of days when I added this, so it's cool. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about when gender identity really starts to appear in the brain. I mean, kids are able to recognize and label traditional gender groups between 18 and 24 months. And most categorize their own gender by 3 years. By 5 or 6, most children are rigid about gender stereotypes and preferences. But of course, these feelings become more flexible with age. Because gender stereotypes are so reinforced, many children end up learning to behave in ways that bring them the most reward, despite their true identity. And that is, I think, just an inherent part of the trans experience, is kind of navigating those stereotypes and understanding that maybe one is behaving in a certain way just to, I don't know if reward is the right word, but just sort of blend in, so to speak. Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, 4th, 5th grade it seems to be when I notice that students start to want to experiment with pronouns with me in my classroom. So, okay, this is rather personal, so this is not something I expect everyone to chime in via chat. But of course, if you are feeling so vulnerable and so comfortable in this space, I am very curious to hear your answer to this. What is your earliest memory of perceiving your own gender? I included Barbies because I didn't really have to think much about mine. I have 2 siblings, both also non-binary, but assigned female. And I remember feeling so confused and so upset and crying at birthday parties. I have a twin sister, so we would often have combined birthday parties. Like, why are they getting Barbies and I'm not? Like, I thought I had expressed that I wanted dolls and Barbies. I'm like, why can't I get a Barbie? And I just remember being so, yeah, confused and frustrated. So it doesn't have to be one that is a source of frustration or upset or confusion. It could be a joyous one, an early moment of perceiving your own gender. But whether or not you want to share in chat, let's just all think on it for a few seconds. Because I know it's kind of a tough question. What is your earliest memory of perceiving your own gender? Yes, being forced to wear certain clothing that I didn't want to wear and not understanding why. Big time. Hated pink as a 6-year-old. Yeah, I wonder how many more years we'll deal with the pink and baby blue dichotomy. Being put in dance classes, big time. Wow. Abundance of masculine energy. I manifested in light bullying and I didn't understand it. Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, truly earliest was the Barbie thing, the doll thing. But yeah, I think my aversion to sports on the playground at the younger ages was another huge thing where I was like, why does it matter so much that I don't want to play football? Being a tomboy that isn't into sports, oh, it's very confusing for people. I see, okay. I'm just taking time to read. House and action figures mixed. Yeah, part of it's generational. Leah mentioned 80s. I was the only girl cousin for a very long time, and my family wanted me to know that being a girl is special. Okay, I'm reading Joanne's comment. Interesting, we have a lot of tomboys, quote unquote. Oh, mistaken. Oh, getting mistaken as a boy would make me so happy. That's really interesting. I so appreciate you guys. Oh my gosh. Yeah, like as I was writing this, I'm like, no one needs to share vulnerable moment, no pressure. And I'm just very touched to hear how readily everyone is sharing. So thank you so much. If you're still writing or still thinking, please just continue on. Oh, wait, actually, now I want to read this one. Being confused about lined up. Oh my gosh. It's really, we're going to get more into like specific ways that it is embedded into education, but it's the lining up and the seating boy girl. It's just such a simple way to just undo it. Just like debunk the binary, get rid of it. Like there are many more interesting ways to divide and set up and organize the students. And we'll talk about some of those. Good. This is awesome. You guys are great. Thank you so much. Cool. This tweet remained in my slide deck from when I first did it. She had tweeted it like a few days prior. This was when the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida really began to be rolled out, or at least discussed on a national level. If kids are too young to be trans, they're too young to be cis. If kids are too young to choose their own gender and decide a gender that they identify with, then they're too young to deeply and actually identify with their assigned gender. Yeah, I think it's just so on the nose, and she's awesome. Also, I think she has no, I'm not gonna say it right. Just really amazing trans actor who I thought had some special, I'm having trouble finding the word, just sort of landmark achievement, but she's awesome. Love her. Okay, now we get into it. Gender binary education. We'll sort of start generally, education in general, and then sort of branch out to some of the different content areas. So much of it is language, just like a simple greeting that is just so embedded in the way that we speak in English. Like, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we probably wouldn't say that to kids. I mean, maybe we would, older kids. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Choir, if there are any choir folks here, there's such a tendency among choir directors to say, all right, guys, when talking to tenors and basses, like, or girls or ladies, we're talking to sopranos and altos, when we can just name them as the section that they are. So being cognizant of that, I have here, do you have a favorite greeting for your students, whether it's hello artists, hello young musicians, hello anything at all? Hey, my friends. Ariel says OMG choir. We're going to talk a lot about choir later. There's so many parts of it that just have this this way of kind of getting the gender talk going. Let me drag this in a way where it's easier for me to see these beautiful young people. Scholars, I like crew, my lovelies, dancers, rock stars. These are great. Friends, I say hey, my friends all the time. Not so kiddos, but raised by awesome. Yeah, there's so many other ways. I have here folks versus folks. Different spelling with the X. Folks with an X started to appear as a way to be extra inclusive or extra visible of trans and queer people. I think it's interesting because for me, folks as it is already quite gender neutral. So it's something I like to point out because I think the X is cool. When I teach, I mix. Goldberg is my honorific, which I love. Like, I love being mixed. It's just so me and it feels so good. So the X has a way of just, Latinx or like certain, even phrases like that. Love mix is Lisa. Yeah, it's just fun. I also say, the X is there just to like be neutral in general, but I also say, oh, I'm a mix of Mr. and Miss. I'm a mix. Or for young kids in like kindergarten and first grade, I'm like, yeah, it's like you're mixing something. Yeah. So folks, either way, it's great. Cool. Next slide. Like I mentioned, the seating, the lines. Other ways, alphabetical, like I remember being in the AM line or whatever it was. By birthday, astrological sign is sort of in its own way, birthday, by, when you were born. Another request to share and chat. Any other ideas or things you do to, whether it's organizing for lining up, organizing for seating, organizing for group work, something that does not include gender, and it's just another way to approach it. I'm wondering if anyone has something they can share. I think astrological I actually got from a prior time I did this, and I was like, that's good. I haven't done it yet, but I just love that. Colors people are wearing, by table, simple enough. If you're wearing green, if you're wearing blue. Glasses or no glasses, I like that. Cat people, dog people, that's awesome. As much as I love a good cat, I'm very much a dog person. Eye color. Clothing colors, that's awesome. That's great. Pets, no pets, eye color. My students would adore, okay. Yeah. You could see them together, but also you could just, sit Taurus and Leo together and watch hell break loose. No, I'm kidding. I like a lot of Leos, but I'm just not supposed to date them. Anyways, these are great. Patterns to clothing, stripes, pets, awesome. I have bathrooms here. Like I said, an ever complicated topic. I don't see in the near future schools, like elementary K-8 grade schools, having like exclusively gender neutral bathrooms. And part of it's just like a developmental thing. CPS has started doing girls plus, boys plus, which basically they say like anyone who feels comfortable with this bathroom may use it. For me, I wonder, as like a young queer kid, I'm like, oh, it still has boys in the title, or it still has girls in the title, boys plus, girls plus. So The chat is great. I'm still monitoring the chat. Stripes, polka dots, Cheetos or Takis. Interesting. You guys are great. Cool. All right, next slide. Okay. As a music educator, and as this was the focus of my master's research work, a lot of the stuff that I've dug deep into has to do with choral music. I don't have to go too much into it, but I think a lot of it is fascinating. There are gendered choirs throughout the country. Choir has, so many ways of sort of inherently reinforcing the binary. A lot of it is, like voices, putting them together. So a boys' choir, a women's choir. But a lot of these choirs have kind of kept more or less the same voices, same ranges, but just changed the name. Changing the name is already a huge step. So for example, all state women's choirs are now treble choirs. And that in itself, includes nearly all of the same people, but makes such a difference for a few musicians. And then, yes, attire, because it is so included in gender expression. And with concert attire, the overall goal is that it should complement the music. It should not distract. It should communicate a certain level of seriousness. But there often is some sort of binary here, like two options. There was a survey that was done. This was back in 2014, a while ago, with the Seattle Prep Musica. One person said, the uniform system does set up this false binary that there's lady wear and then there's dude wear. I would love to have an option that validates the way I present my gender. So the director, Karen Thomas, had a delightful response to this, not only to that person, but just at restructuring her choir's policies. It just said, like, if it helps one trans person decide they could audition for our choir, that's important. So there are plenty of ways to adapt these practices. We can go to the next slide. One is just gender flexible concert attire with certain parameters. So for example, concert black, just saying concert black. Parameters meaning like sleeve length of pant or skirt, whether or not you're using a tie. A formal concert attire like the one we just saw in the last slide, like it's pretty standard to do tuxedo and then a sort of formal black dress. Schools can keep that, like that is okay. That binary of this or that is fine, but saying option 1 or option 2 goes such a long way. Instead of boys wear tux, girls wear dresses, option 1, option 2 opens it up so much. And then for younger and less formal ensembles, something like a t-shirt, like I have written here. Okay, next. One of the most fascinating parts of this process for me has been kind of understanding different hormone processes and how it affects the voice. It's never a good idea to ask someone if they are going through hormone therapy. Definitely not a teacher to student, but if it's involving vocal music, it is relevant, as the voice can be changing. Androgen therapy, so also known as testosterone blockers, use of anti-androgen drugs to prevent production of testosterone. It does not typically change the quality of the voice. I mean, sometimes a trans woman will go through voice therapy to change the pitch of the voice, or in certain cases, laryngeal surgery, which will elevate the pitch of the voice. And, but yeah, does not typically change the quality of the voice. Testosterone does drastically deepen the pitch of the voice, and as well as the average speaking pitch. This can often take a year or more for the voice to totally change, and many trans male singers describe it like puberty, where the voice is unreliable and deals with frequent squeaks and cracks. So on the next slide, there are some tools I found where students may have dysphoria with certain parts of their bodies, like discomfort with examining chest or belly, so teachers could focus on rib cage or shoulders, throat, mouth, eyes, brows. just focusing on where is the tension and where can we alleviate this tension. A body scan puts focus on areas of tension rather than specific parts. Vocal dysphoria with using parts of the range. This is something I myself relate to big time. I unfortunately have a very limited range, very low range, and I just wish I didn't. But the vocal teacher really should defer to the student. Like if there is a part of their range they do not want to go to because they have that association of a certain gender, then they don't do it. And then there are certain exercises, SOVTs or semi-included vocal tract exercises that can help students get used to changes in their voice, things like singing into a straw, lip bubbles, tongue trails, especially with students taking testosterone. That'll help them know kind of where their voice is breaking or changing. We have a question in chat. If someone has to stop taking testosterone, is their voice affected? And if they can go back on it, oh, that's an excellent question, Jamie. If someone has to stop taking testosterone, is their voice? That's a really excellent question that I do not know the answer to. Yeah, I should not try to pretend I know. But yeah,
So
no, don't apologize. That's just a really good question that I simply had not considered yet. So.
Yeah, I know a little bit about this. This is Ariel. So if you take testosterone, what happens is your vocal cords thicken, and like Cleo mentioned, it can also enlarge your larynx and put it further back in your body, and that is not a reversible process. So once that has happened, then you can't like unthicken your vocal cords. You can do some of the therapies that Cleo was talking about, that many trans women do to sort of use the higher parts of your voice, but you can't go back once you have done that.
Thank you, Ariel. That was kind of my gut feeling. It was like, I don't think something like that just like goes back. So good to know. Thank you very much. For the instrumental teachers out there, the same concert attire thing applies as choir. I think there's a little bit less, it's just like embedded when it comes to gender. But like I said here, just debunk those stereotypes. I have a tuba here, associated as this very masculine instrument, like brass in general, but the lowest of the brass, very masculine. And then flute, which is very high, very pretty sounding, typically given to female students. So yeah, I would just say, just really clearly and openly communicate that, you know, we give the student not only the instrument or instrument area that they're showing a knack for, but like what they like the sound of, okay? So if they're like a lot of early band teachers, elementary band teachers will like kind of buzz on the mouthpiece to see if they can produce a buzz, okay, then they can play this brass instrument, or they should. But yeah, if it's a girl producing a buzz, she can still play tuba. And yeah, just making that abundantly clear will go a long way. Cool. Next one for theater. I think we can remove all gender indications from role descriptions when we are auditioning. We assign the best actor and singer to the role that they're being considered for. And if it's one that they are also comfortable with and excited to do, then that's great. But I don't think it has to be associated with the gender that Music Theater International is putting on its list. What I do have is consider vocal range. It's an important consideration. We're doing Seussical at Bell right now, having a lot of fun with it. We have a cis female girl as Horton, doing a wonderful job, but a lot of it is like kind of navigating, like this, all of this, yes, we will take up the octave. Oh, this could be lower. Oh, this is quite high for you. Maybe we can, so it's just something to be cognizant of, that when a role is written in a certain range, there's gonna have to be some switching. But I think most importantly, it's just giving the actor the role they deserve and are best suited in. Also a thing I've noticed with Seussical, I have part 1, part 2 instead of by gender. In the Seussical Junior, it says women, men, all over the place for multi-part harmonies, women, men, which is confusing for several reasons. I'm like, these are like 4th through 8th grade students. None of them are women or men. They're all just kids. So whether or not it's written in the printed books, I would just refer to it as part 1 and part 2 if you are doing those split parts. De-emphasize mentions of physicality. This is something I got from my actor sister when we were talking about this presentation. Certain roles that are, I don't know, a certain part of their physicality may be like a broad shoulder, broad build, or I don't know. I think that's the best example. Or I don't know, a shorter character, a light-footed character or something. Basically, no mention in a line or mention in a song should really determine who gets the role. So finding ways to de-emphasize those mentions and, like we said, simply give the most suited actor or singer the role is great. Curvy shows up a lot. Yes, thank you, Kristen. That's, for some reason, I just had trouble thinking of words that would be seen. So that curvy is an excellent example. Give students agency in costuming. Agency as in, for a student who is non-binary, is trans, just working with them and asking what they will feel most comfortable in. Actually, our cat in the hat is non-binary, who I think, I don't know, they're gonna just have a costume that works well for them. And we're already very excited for it. Yeah, that agency and that voice in it is going to really help with the feeling scene. Next. Dance. So similarly to music, can be flexible within these specific parameters. I traded some messages with Lola Schaefer, is the dance teacher at Kenwood Academy. And I just learned so much from her perspective. I mean, she said, most students will use leotard, but if they want to use a black t-shirt, they can use it. And she finds that she has to often navigate this balance of having students feel safe in that space and wear what they want to wear, but also preparing them for the professional dance world if they do decide to do that, where it is a little bit more rigid. So she feels some of the times she is a little bit more strict just because she wants them to be prepared for, oh yes, you probably will have to wear a leotard, or you'll have to wear pants and no shirt, pants and a tank top, whatever it is. And also I think a sort of inherent gender thing in dance is the person that is leading or the person that is lifting. So that's something that can be given to students of various identities as they are able to and as they desire to. Yeah, and with visual arts, creative writing, just giving projects that give students the opportunity to include parts of their identity. And giving encouraging examples, even just a little nudge of like, oh, for example, you could include your pronouns in this. Or if you want to include a trans flag or non-binary flag, you can do this. Oh, I'm seeing some dance mentions in chat too. Good, okay. I'm looking at Ari's. Leo tights shoes or shorts, t-shirt, shoes. Excellent, yeah, that's great. Choice of curtsy. Oh, with choice of a curtsy or a bow. Oh, depending on how we feel in our body that day. That's awesome. That's great. I love that. You know what? I love that. I'm writing that down graphic again. Cool. Thank you, Sally. All right, next. Okay, so this questionnaire I do 4th and up. Like I said, I noticed any younger students just aren't really prepared to have the discussion about, I don't want to say prepared to have the discussion about pronouns, but are just have not really a level of awareness of it. Yeah, I find that giving something like this, 4th grade, is a good age to begin with. So I know it's kind of tiny. Yeah, I asked not only what are their pronouns, but would you like me to call you a name that's different from your school name? If yes, what is it? May I use this name and pronoun in front of your parents? May I use it in front of the class? May I use it with other teachers and staff? I feel very strongly that if you are going to ask students their pronouns, I do think you need to go this far or you're only getting like a very small part of the story. Also asking students to share their pronouns or inviting them to share their pronouns in like a full class setting, you may only get an answer on a certain comfort level. Like maybe that in that moment, they're not really comfortable sharing their pronouns in front of the whole class. So having that privacy of this sheet is wonderful. I've gotten feedback like, they come up to me, I'm not sure what my pronouns are. So I say, okay, is there one you want to try in here in the music room? And we've done that all the time. It breaks my heart every time, but all the time. With parents, they said yes, and then next to it they say with my mom, but like in front of my dad, use she. Or in front of with my dad, you see. It really breaks my heart every single time, but I get it all the time. So it's important to do something like this. What else have I seen? Only they if I'm wearing short hair. That was interesting. Emails letting me know they changed their mind. Yeah, a student who was like, actually, just call me she, thank you. Like a couple of days later. Oh, excuse me, I'm monitoring chat. Gender issue, wearing point shoes, dressing rooms. Yeah, dressing rooms, oh, it's another huge thing. That's hard. Yeah. Yeah, there's something about just having to say your names aloud in the space. I'm thinking about Joe's comment. Yeah, sheet like, I mean, there's not always the opportunity for a sheet like this, but even like even a name tag feels different, where it's like, you don't have to just like say it and put it out there, it can just be there. Or like a display name, it's just there, and we don't really have to address it or call such attention to it. So yeah, I think the sheet is important for so many reasons. Some of you might be wondering, oh, are there students who abuse the whole, okay, kids see this. I have a student who allows us to call them by their preferred name or to their friends. Yeah, that's why I think this is a good idea. And this is not my original idea. I think it was probably just like an infographic on the internet I saw that I would love to give this person credit who I first saw it from, but I don't know who it is. As I was saying, some people might wonder, are there people who abuse the whole chosen name thing and make it a joke? The answer is yes. I think it will happen very frequently. It happens to me frequently. And my answer to that is, if someone puts Bob the Builder, or if someone puts potato, call them potato. Like whenever you address them in front of the class, okay, potato's gonna help collect the papers. Oh, yes, okay, thank you very much, potato. It will be funny for the class at first, maybe annoyingly funny. It will be a little bit disruptive how amused they are. But then at a certain point, they may say, actually, Mix Goldberg, you can just call me John. And that's, and I say, okay, well, now you know that I'm serious. Now that you know that I take this seriously. So it's good to prove a point. And also have a little fun and tease along the way. Also something like this, I mean, we're talking about the Don't Say Gay bill. We stand in solidarity with those teachers who have to navigate those ridiculous conditions, who worry about job security if they don't disclose a student's sexuality when it was shared with them. We 100% stand in solidarity and share our love, but there's no but. We don't live in Florida. We can do stuff like this and be okay. And there, as I'll show you later, there is state guidance in Illinois that is very much on our side. Oh my gosh, overnight trips is like a whole part of this that I still have yet to really explore. So yeah, we're also just sending. Do you suggest us sending something like this out to our participating students? Excellent question, Joanne. I think with overnight trips, there should be definitely a questionnaire, like asking the student what they are comfortable, like which space they are comfortable in sleeping in, but then also asking like, I'm not sure totally the language of it, basically asking them like what space are they comfortable sleeping in, but then asking like what they identify with, but then also like what they feel comfortable, which space they feel comfortable sleeping in. yeah, the language I'm not totally sure, but some sort of questionnaire survey prior to the overnight trip, where the parent voice is also included in some way. It's so tricky, and like I said, I've not like really decided what the best case is for that. It's hard. Okay. Another TikTok from Elduran. This is in response to people making up neopronouns. So let's play it.
Hi, I'm Ty. My pronouns are they, she. My pronouns are attack helicopter. Oh, thanks for letting me know. Wait, what? Okay, everyone. Attack goes by attack helicopter pronoun. Wait, no, stop. I know, these ones are new. No, those aren't. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't show helicopter some baseline respect, even though attack won't show it to anyone else. But I have faith that attack will come to that realization all by helicopter self.
Helicopter, helicopter.
It's like exactly what I said before. It's like, okay, like take them at their word, call them exactly what they just called you. And then it has a way of like, yeah, brilliant, as Tanya says. Yeah, it proves the point on itself. And shows them how it's serious. I love her, she's great. Okay, a few other inclusive practices. I tried to find a video of this name game, jump in, jump out, but all the other videos I could find were a different version it just didn't work. So I'll try to perform it for you to show you. But it goes something like jump in, jump out, turn yourself around, jump in, jump out, introduce yourself. And there's a person whose turn it is, group response. My name's Mix Goldberg. Yeah, I like to run. Yeah, and I'll be running. Yeah, for the rest of my life, for the rest of their life. Jump in, jump out. So it gives you an opportunity, or everyone an opportunity to practice whoever pronoun it is. And if you need to, you could say, oh, like, what do we say for you? What is your pronoun? You can support that as the game goes on. But yeah, I think that's a fun way to, start time with a group of students, but also kind of just get to know people's pronouns. And I try to do this after the questionnaire, so I don't have to put them on the spot and in front of everyone, ask the pronoun. So if possible, questionnaire, that name game. Mistakes by classmates or staff, correct immediately. Delivery is important. My best transfer with this is like any behavior management that we navigate as teachers. Undesired behavior, calling it out in the moment, like directly as it's happening. We don't have to be angry. It's not a punishment. It's just the only way the brain cogs really turn is if it's in the moment, catching it and correcting it. And pronouns are really the same way. That's the way that the brain will really register. Yeah. As for making a mistake on someone's pronouns yourself, what I say is do not apologize. Some people will say, you should apologize. You should say, thank you for correcting me, or excuse me. That's fine. I think you only need to apologize on making a mistake on a student's pronouns or on another person's pronouns if they have like explicitly expressed like, I have been hurt by how you've misgendered me, or expresses a serious upset. But the occasional slip up, do not apologize. Not only do you not need to, but there's this tendency to over apologize. Oh God, I'm really trying. It's just, it's all these, and it's too much, because it actually puts the onus on the person who was misgendered to placate them. Like, not only are they dealing with frustration of being misgendered, but now they have to calm you down because they made a mistake. So, sorry, you can tell this has happened before, but you don't need to apologize. Oops, ouch language. Yeah. Oops, ouch language. Yeah, I had a former therapist who did this, who asked, I think it was with, because he was concerned that he would mess up my pronouns. So he asked if he would do an oops, ouch thing, where I would say oops if he messed up, and he would say ouch. And then that would be that. So I like that. That's good. It recognizes the mistake and moves right into using the correct pronouns. Yeah, it doesn't have to be like a stop to soothe anyone or make anyone feel bad or feel better. Yeah, oops, ouch. That's another thing I'm going to add to my list. Show students famous trans musicians, artists, actors, dancers, I have a few people. I have Lily Wachowski up here, and Janelle Monáe and Elliot Page. Yeah, particularly in your discipline, I think it could be meaningful to show some of these artists. Great. Cool, next. My school this year started in the sort of name tag area outside of our classroom. It used to be colleges, like it would be like show which college you went to promote college readiness. I think CPS was rolling that out in general. But instead we do identity flyers now, where it could say, yeah, your gender or your sexuality or spirituality, ability. Yeah, and usually your name would be in the middle. It's been cool staff-wide to see how creative people have gotten with that. So that's something that you could have in your own little name sign in your space, in your school. Okay, next. Oh yes, the gender unicorn. So I think this is just a cute, fun graphic to show how all of these are on spectra, identity, expression, how these things are different. Not only are they on spectra. Physically attracted to, emotionally attracted to, assigned at birth. Some of you might remember the genderbread person, which existed previously, but the creator of the genderbread person ended up being identified as taking part in some plagiarism and some not really ethical parts of the creation process. And this was created as a response to that, a new version, the gender unicorn. This is also, I'll have a link to this it's in the slides, which you'll receive in case anyone wants this. I'm pretty sure it exists still in some sort of poster form. Cool. Let's watch this. So for those of us who work with, actually, can you click the raise hand if you work with littles? Like if you work with K through 2 at any point, can you just click the raise hand button? Okay, oh, good. They really, so I teach K through 8. I love all the students. It's great. Something about K through 2 really just speaks to my heart in a special way. It's really, I love teaching them. I think this channel, Queer Kid Stuff, has just a really beautiful way of explaining these concepts in a way that students really get it. I think the first couple times I showed this video to like kinder, I was like, oh my gosh, I've never heard them so quiet in my life. Like, I think they're really just listening and thinking about what is being shown to them right now. So yeah, let's watch this. He, she, and they.
Welcome to Queer Kid Stuff. I'm Lindsay and this is my best friend Teddy, and today we're going to talk about gender. We all are part of one big family. Gaming's happy. Queer Kid Stuff. You are enough here at Queer Kid Stuff.
Lindsay?
Yes, Teddy?
You're a girl, right?
That's right. Why do you ask?
Well, you have short hair and you're wearing a tie. I thought only boys have short hair and wear ties.
You make a really good point, Teddy, but just because I'm a girl doesn't mean I can't wear those things too, or anything else that I want to wear. If they want, girls can have short hair or long hair, or wear tiaras, or bow ties. You can wear whatever you want, no matter if you're a boy or a girl.
But boys can't wear dresses, can they?
Well, why not? You should wear whatever clothes make you feel like the best version of yourself. It's the same for colors and toys too. You can like whatever color or toy that makes you happy.
But Lindsay, I still don't know if I'm a boy or a girl.
Well, Teddy, did you know that some people aren't boys or girls? Some people are boys, some people are girls, and some people are people. There are also people who are trans or transgender. People who are trans do not identify with the gender doctors tell them they are when they are born. But we're going to talk about what it means to be trans in a later episode.
Okay, I think I understand, but all of this is a little confusing. If there are boys and girls and people and all of them can wear ties and dresses, then how can I tell who is what gender?
That's actually really easy, Teddy. All you have to do is ask someone what their pronoun is. A pronoun is the word you use to talk about someone when you don't use their name, like he for boy, she for girl, and some people use they. When you meet someone, just ask them what their pronoun is.
Lindsay, what's your pronoun?
I use she. What's your pronoun, Teddy?
I don't feel like a she or a he, so I guess my pronoun is they.
That's really awesome, Teddy. Okay, so now we want to know your pronoun in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for new videos every Wednesday. And if you want to learn more about gender, you can ask your grown-up questions, or you can have them print out our activity sheet down below. And I just want to give a huge shout out to our patrons over at patreon.com who give every month.
It's okay to be gay.
I just realized I was muted. Whoops. Yeah, I think it's so cute. And I think the questions Teddy asks are questions that kinders first, second, and even some grown adults would have. Like, if I don't know what to call someone, like, how do I know? Oh, you could just ask them. Good. Good. A couple books that I think are good to have. They, she, he, me, free to be. Not a lot of words, just like we could start to like click through slides, just like a few seconds on each one. Yeah, like it just shows that these various pronouns, there are people who look all different ways. Yeah. This book I love. It's by a teacher named Lourdes Rivas, who's based in the Bay Area. Really beautiful, just tells their life story of, actually, let's click to the next slide. Of growing up as a kid who like didn't really feel like they fit into either boy or girl. I just thought this picture is so beautifully done, right? As we talk about the pink and the blue and the way these are divided, like kind of hiding with sadness behind them, not really sure what to do. So then next slide, they talk about how they found themselves and they became a teacher and they learned how to practice their pronouns with their students and encourage them to be themselves. It's a great book, and I don't think I've read it all this year. I did it a lot last year, but several students have came out to the class like the day that I read the book, like asking if people had questions or responses afterwards, and yeah, just so touching. At least twice students came out that day that I read it. So these books are great. Next. So, cool. We're nearing up on our pause for quick break time. Alok Vaidmanan is someone everyone should know about. I mean, they are just fashion icon, amazing writer, amazing performance artist. It just has this like really beautiful way of talking about gender, talking about their gender story, but just explaining gender in general. Yeah, I think people say love Alok. Incredible. So yeah, we'll watch like the first minute and a half of this.
I've learned that the most important questions don't have answers, they just have more questions in response. And one of the most fundamental questions that I've tried to run into in my life is, who am I? I began to realize I was not a boy. I think it took more time to figure out that just because I wasn't a boy meant I didn't have to be a girl. My name is Alok. I'm a writer and performance artist. I'm trying to challenge a world that isolates us from one another and prevents us from talking about the things that are most important to us in public. When I was a little kid, I lived life on my own terms. I utterly hated boys' clothes and the expectations that were assigned to me as someone supposed to being a boy. I was taught that so many parts of myself were incompatible, that I wasn't allowed to be free, and that was called masculinity. I try to flip the script in that question and say, when did my joy become too much for this society? When did my creativity have to be policed into the binary? I'm actually fighting for a world where all people are able to self-determine their gender. What I want to challenge the gender binary, not man and woman. I want man and woman to be two of millions. I want man and woman to be able to exist without having to be in tension or in opposition. I want people to be able to say I'm a woman, and for that not necessarily to mean, and therefore I'm not masculine and I'm not a man. I want people to be able to say I'm a man, and for that not to mean therefore I'm not a woman or not feminine. You contain multitudes. And I think that what we should be doing is just surrendering to the complexity of ourselves and other people.
Cool, we can pause it there. Right, such a beautiful way of speaking about it. In particular, I was really struck by like, I want man and woman to be two of millions. I'm like, that's awesome.
I've learned that the
okay. Before we shift gears, is there anyone who has a question? This can be in chat, or we could do like the raise hand thing. And you can unmute and say it aloud if you would like, but there have already been excellent questions in chat. I just wanted to take this time to pause and see. Yeah, like I said, lots of good questions already. Okay, well, we'll have another chance at the end if there are none now. Before we do our group activity, our final stretch, let's take a stretch. So we can go to the next slide. We're gonna play this song. You can stand, stretch for the duration of the song, or if you want to dance, you can do that. But when Tightrope by Janelle Monáe is over, speaking of iconic non-binary people, we will resume. So take a break.
Monet and left foot.
I take your pain away. Some people talk about you like they know all about you. When you get down, they doubt you. And when you dip it on the scene, yeah, they talking about it. Cause they can't tip on the scene, what you talk about it. Talking about it. When you get elevated, they love it or they hate it. You dance up on them haters. Keep getting funky on the scene while they jumping around you. They trying to take all of your dreams, but you can't allow it. Cause baby, whether you're high or low, or whether you're high or low, you got to chip on the tightrope. Chip on the tightrope. Baby, whether you're high or low, baby, whether you're high or low, you got to tip on the tightrope. Now let me see you do the tightrope. And I'm still dipping on it. See, I'm not walking on it or trying to run around it. This ain't no acrobatics. You either follow or you lead. Yeah, I'm talking about you. I'll keep on blaming the machine. Yeah, I'm talking about it. Talking about it. I can't complain about it. I gotta keep my balance and just keep dancing on it. We getting funky on the scene, and you know about it. Like a star on the screen. Watch me tip all on it. Now, baby, whether I'm high or low, baby, whether you're high or low, you got to tip on the tightrope. Yeah, tip on the tightrope. Baby, whether you're high or low, baby, whether you're high or low, tip on the tightrope. Baby, let me see your tightrope. And I'm still dipping on it.
You gotta keep your balance or you fall into the gap. It's a challenge, but I manage cause I'm cautious with the strap. Do damage to your cabbage that a doctor cannot pass. See why you don't want no friction like the back of a matchbook. That if SS will fold you and your MacBook. Close shows shut you down before we go backwards. Act up, and whether we high or low, we gonna get back up like the Dow Jones and NASDAQ. Sort of like a dog get mad and crack. Come on.
I tip on alligators and little rattlesnakers, but I'm another flavor, something like a Terminator. Ain't no equivocating. I fight for what I believe. Why you talking about it? Just talking about it. Some calling me a sinner, some calling me a winner. I'm calling you to dinner, and you know exactly what I mean. Yeah, I'm talking about you. You can rock or you can leave. Watch me tip without you. No, whether I'm high or low, whether I'm high or low, I gotta tip on the tightrope.
Okay, love Janelle. I mean, Janelle has released so much music since then, but I'm still on the Orange Android. It's just great. Okay, to a couple really great questions in chat. I do want to pause for those just until we come back together after this. I want to make sure we have enough time for our group activity. So you will be divided into small breakout rooms. You will be given one of three scenarios that involve honoring a student's gender identity. Based on the one you receive, the question you receive, discuss with your peers what you would do. One of you should be prepared or willing to share out just a little bit of what you talked about. I have that last part if you have time to move on to a different question. Yeah, you can. I have a feeling with the time we have, we'll just focus on the one. So let's all check out these questions together. Next slide. Okay, question one. In your choir, there is a non-binary student assigned male who would like to wear the uniform dress at the concert instead of the tuxedo. Their parents write you and say they do not think it's appropriate for them to wear the dress and ask if they not be given one. Okay, next slide. Number two, you assign your art students a project where they create portraits of themselves surrounded by words and images that describe them. One student puts trans in the trans flag colors on their portrait. You hang it in the hallway, but your assistant principal suggests that you not show it in the hall because it's too political. And then third question. You are the director of the spring play and you have just finished casting. Your lead actress is a trans girl and is therefore in a role that affirms her gender. However, she has not yet come out to her family, who will inevitably learn more about the show and want to come see it. She is worried about how they will react to her coming out. Okay, so, all right, yeah, you'll be put in rooms based on these couple different questions. Courtney just, oh, this is also in chat. So good. So if you're in groups 1 or 4, your question 1. If you're in groups 2 or 5, your question 2. Good, good. We're all opening that link. All right. Yeah, on you go. We'll take like 10 minutes or so, and then we'll come back together.
Hi, Jess. Were you already in a room? Jess, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, what room were you in? Were you in a breakout room?
I just got here.
Bedroom.
No,
Oh.
I just got here. I got
All
the
right.
time mixed up.
No worries, no worries.
Okay.
We're just in some breakout rooms. And we'll be in there for about another 2 minutes. So if you want to just hang out until then, that would be great.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Thank you. And I heard this is going to be recorded so we can go back to it later.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Oops. I'm sorry, but I feel bad because I'm not able to type in the chat. But I was just wondering, how can we gain access to the link when it's done?
So I will I'll be sending you a follow-up email that will
Okay.
have the recording link and also a link to the slide deck and any other resources.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening? Are the groups done?
Yes, we're coming back now. Or
Thank
I guess
you.
everyone is back now.
Cool, everyone is back. Excellent. Yeah, is there a representative from group 1 that could tell us just a little bit about what you guys talked about?
I can do that. We talked, we had quite a number of opinions, but I think what we kind of landed on was that our number one priority was to support the kid and to make sure the kid was comfortable, and to kind of say to the parent, you know, our policy is to wear concert black, for example, and therefore, as long as your child is wearing concert black, they can wear what they want. It's not against our policy, and to kind of leave it at that, really. Like, your kid can wear what they want. You know, kind of try to diffuse the situation a little bit to say, like, it's not against our policy, and then make it about the child's choice. And that if we felt like the kid maybe needed some extra support to go ahead and express our support to the kid, like, hey, just letting you know, I think it's, you know, you can wear whatever you want, or in whatever language was appropriate for the details of the situation. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Cool. Thank you, Susanna. That's great. Anyone in group 4 who also had that question? Would you guys like to add to that? Or did that sum up your thoughts as well?
I believe we were group 4, but we actually answered a different question because we didn't have the list. But I think we did question 3 about the theater show.
Okay, cool. That's okay. So we'll come back to you guys then. So
Okay.
I think what Susanna said was great. I mean, definitely centering the student and honoring them first. I do want to share. So this is one of the situations where there is like actual state guidance that can be pointed to as defense. This is also going to be in the slides, which you will receive. You'll have this link. But it's, yeah, the state guidance supporting transgender and non-binary students. If you go to like the dress codes area, it says, may a district enforce dress codes based on gender stereotypes? For example, can a school enforce a policy by which only people assigned female at birth are allowed to wear dresses? And the response is no. Under the IHRA, dress codes cannot be applied in a discriminatory way. The First Amendment also protects student rights to express their gender identity through their appearance. Likewise, schools cannot prevent students from wearing clothing that expresses written messages or otherwise conveys one's gender identity or support for the LGBT community. So yeah, in situations where if it does seem like it's so contentious with the parent where like there's just not that agreement, this could be helpful to point to, like, well, it's state guidance that they can wear what they want. And this, yeah, it's a good document to just have in the bookmarks or whatever. Okay. Yeah, absolutely, Dinah. Cool. Group 2, did you guys do question 2?
We did. We talked a lot about basically like trying to find the nice way of saying, like, I'm trying to support my student, and if they cannot feel welcome in this space, like if I can't hang up theirs, there is no politics here. This is just their identity. So if that is their identity and I cannot hang it up, then I will not hang up anyone's identity. And so if you do not want the art in the hallway, none of it will be in the hallway. Or we can allow this single one and all of the others so that all of the students feel welcome.
I really love that approach. That's very bold and awesome, but like point very much taken. Like it's not political, it's a part of their identity. Group 5, anything to add to that?
Hi, sorry.
That's
I would say from our group, we had a couple things to add to that. I think that's a great idea, what you suggested. And I think, you know, also supporting the child as well, child's identity. The child did follow the assignment. That was the assignment, to write words about their identity. And if you know, the 3 of us do not work in a school. We bring programs into schools, but the idea to, you know, who was that about? Who is it political to? Is it political to the assistant principal? You know, do we talk with the principal instead? But yes, the idea of supporting the child, not wanting to take it down for political, that would be shaming. And that maybe that the school needed some education on non-binary, something like what we're doing today. Maybe the school needs a little bit of that so that they can help support all their students, and that it serves for an idea for further discussion. But that we wouldn't, I mean, I like the idea you either take it all down or you leave it all up.
Yeah, that was great. And yeah, bringing it back to the assignment, they did as was asked.
Exactly.
Great, thank you. Cool. Group 3, would you like to share anything about this?
Yeah, so first and foremost, you know, the person who got cast in the role, her agency is first and foremost the most important thing. So you know, she chose to audition for this part. The director casted them in that part. Both of them are in agreement that they're a good fit for this role. And so it would be, I think it would be like a conversation kind of along the lines of like, what are your comfortability levels about performing in front of your parents? Are there other options we could explore if you're not ready to do that and be out with your family, depending on the situation? And then one option that was discussed is kind of taking a practice of double casting shows just in general. That way, if there are any instances where you have someone who is comfortable in a gender identity on stage, but may not be comfortable in their home life being out to their parents, then you have that opportunity to allow the parents to come see the show, still see their child perform, and then on other nights when they aren't coming to see the performance, then you have that opportunity. They have that opportunity to perform different roles in the show. So that was one solution that we thought about as an option.
That's awesome. This is another thing I'm like adding to my own notes because I really that double casting. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this scenario is different than the others, where it's like there has not yet been a negative interaction, and there might not be. It's just sort of being available for that discussion with the student and making sure they feel heard and comfortable. So awesome. Thank you very much. Group 6, anything to add?
I think that was us, right?
Oh, hey, Matt.
Yeah. Yeah, so we also dealt with this question. We talked about having a conversation with the student first, get a temperature of kind of what their environment's like, what's the family's kind of support level with them. We also wanted to see if, and talked to them through the options. Ask them if they were planning, yep, that's actually, yeah, sorry, we'll come to that. So we would ask the student first, what's the situation like at home? Are you planning on coming out before the show? We could ask your parents not to come, which we realize is a rough thing to deal with, but that's something we could take on as the educator. Talk about the option of having a conversation with the family either before or after the show as well, and talk to the students, see if there's a trusted either guidance counselor or social worker at the school that they want involved in the conversations as well. And should we run into any issues with the parents, because we don't know what the support level's like, where they're upset about this, one of the options that we talked through is positing to the family, this is an educational environment. We're decentering gender because we want to, ultimately we want to affirm the student. We want to make sure that she gets to be who she is. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, I think even if we are arts teachers that are like comfortable and like have grace when interacting with parents, I think counselors just have a way, just like sort of embedded in the roles of just having a really great sensitivity for navigating parent discussions. So yeah, I think those are great people to have in your corner in these kinds of discussions. Group 4, anything to add? Or maybe we're
I
good.
think a lot of the things that were discussed were sort of central to our discussion as well. Just centering the relationship with the student. And we also discussed the perspective of, as a peer, what to do to support that student as well. And just giving them the affirmation that it's their decision to make, and it's their moment to have, and to be able to do it the way that they want to, and support them and listen to their needs. So yeah, really following along with the other advice that people gave.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shannon. Cool. This was great. I always learn so much from other educators in this activity. So I think we can actually skip to the last slide. With our remaining few minutes, I would kind of just love to answer questions that you guys have. I'm going back in the chat. There were a few really great ones. One, how to use binary terms like feminine and masculine when describing art in museums, or not to use them. Meaning changing language that puts classic gendering into different terms when it comes to looking at art. This is a very interesting question. My immediate reaction was like, what are good synonyms for like masculine and feminine? So then I literally pulled up thesaurus.com. Describing art as brawny, or husky, or robust, or sturdy, or perhaps it's soft, or gentle, or tender, or delicate. I think that simple shift in language makes a huge difference, and says the same thing. There was also a great question from, from Joe. Even as a trans non-binary person, deconstructing binary concepts of gender has been difficult, having been raised and developed through patterns in the binary. How do we show grace for ourselves and for others as we go through the process of deconstruction? Also an excellent question. It's so hard, but I think adopting just a simple sort of affirmation or mindset of like, we are all learning. Like even those ourselves that identify as non-binary, like we are all learning, and we can't help the universe that we grew up in. Like the world that was just, I mean, still has so many of these binary concepts just sort of everywhere. We can't help that. We do the best we can, but yeah, we're all learning. Yeah. Cool. I'm scrolling back down. Any lesson plans out there around any of the arts areas that speak to gender expansive? Oh. Not lesson plans that I know of or that I can share, but I think some of those books are a great place to start. Like, especially like the they, she, me, he. I don't know. I think a lesson could be created out of one of those books. So that's, I mean, those are just two that I shared with you guys, but there's a lot of cool, really cool children's literature on gender that maybe could be. Teachers Pay Teachers, of course, love them. They get a good amount of my money from time to time. Awesome, thank you, Jamie. Cool. Any other final questions? Also, yeah, in chat, or I mean, a minute or so left if anyone wants to click raise hand or unmute.
Yeah, I think we can leave those in the chat. Just wanted to thank you, Cleo, for such a wonderful 2 hours. I learned a lot, and I'm very excited to continue these conversations. I just wanted to let everyone know that we do have a few upcoming events. So our second Ingenuity Virtual Learning course is now up and running, and this is produced by the Black Teaching Artist Lab in collaboration with Ingenuity. It's an asynchronous virtual course, so that's available now. You can look into it at your leisure. Also, our all partner meeting is coming up. It is in person at Malcolm X College on March 14th, 9 to 12. And our next Constellation Institute is Just Listen, reframing our relationship to disability to promote inclusion in the arts. And that's facilitated by Robbie Williams, which will be April 20th, 1 to 3 p.m. And then lastly, these conversations and in addition to your feedback on these conversations is very important to us. And I would love for you all to fill out our very short survey. And we are on, we would like to get 75% response rate of our attendees. So Courtney is putting that, the link to the survey. It takes only a couple of minutes. And based on the number of people who are here today, I need at least 24 people to respond to the survey. So if you're here now, that means you. And anyone who had to leave or come late, there will be a follow-up email with the recording for this, the survey link, and also any additional resources, including the slide deck. Thank you all so much.